Windows is keeping more of your personal data than most users realize, and Microsoft rarely talks about where it lives. Right now, buried deep inside your system, there is a folder you have never seen that is silently collecting screenshots, passwords, browser URLs, and diagnostic data even after you have cleared your history, emptied your recycle bin, and restarted your computer. This is not speculation. This is the Windows App Data Directory, specifically the Packages subfolder, and what security researchers have found inside it has alarmed digital forensic experts and privacy advocates across 3 continents. Over 1 billion devices run Windows 11 today, and every single one of them is doing this without most users ever knowing. Microsoft launched Windows 11 in October 2021 with promises of enhanced privacy controls and transparency. But behind the clean interface and simplified setting menu, the operating system has been creating permanent cache files in system folders deliberately hidden from File Explorer. These files store diagnostic telemetry, clipboard history, browser metadata, and thumbnail captures of your screen, all persisting long after Microsoft's own documentation claims they have been deleted. In the next 15 minutes, you will see exactly where this data hides, what it contains, and why privacy regulators in Europe launched formal investigations that could cost Microsoft up to $4 billion. Microsoft's official stance is straightforward. According to their diagnostic data documentation, Windows collects only the minimum information necessary to keep your device secure, up to date, and performing properly. The company states that users can control their privacy settings through the Settings app under Privacy and Security, and that clearing system cache or restarting your computer removes temporary files. This diagnostic data collection, Microsoft argues, powers essential features like Windows Update, error, reporting, and performance optimization. Windows 11 offers 3 levels of telemetry: security, required, and optional. Security level, available only to Enterprise editions, sends minimal data about security threats and Windows Defender. Required diagnostic data includes device connectivity information, quality-related data, and compatibility details needed to keep Windows updated. Optional diagnostic data adds browsing history fragments, detailed device usage, and enhanced error reports. For most home users running Windows 11, Home or Pro, the minimum setting is required, meaning you cannot completely disable telemetry. The data supposedly gets anonymized, aggregated, and used to improve Microsoft's products and services. Microsoft also introduced the Diagnostic Data Viewer in 2018, a built-in tool that claims to show users exactly what information Windows collects. On paper, this sounds reasonable. Problem is what Microsoft does not advertise in that: documentation. Security researchers and digital forensic specialists began noticing something unusual in 2022 and 2023. When examining Windows 11 systems during incident response investigations, analysts discovered cache files containing user activity data in locations Microsoft's own privacy documentation never mentioned. Dr. Jung-Hoon Han from the Korea University Digital Forensics Research Lab published findings in 2020 showing that Windows telemetry stores data in RBS files, binary log formats that persist for up to 3 months and contain process execution history, application installation records, hardware device information, and USB connection events. These logs exist separately from standard Windows artifacts like registry, prefetch, and event logs, and they survive far longer, sometimes retaining over a year of Windows Update history. FortiGuard Incident Response Team documented this in December 2025 during a ransomware investigation. The attacker had used sophisticated anti-forensic techniques, wiping files, clearing event logs, and obfuscating malicious binaries to cover their tracks. But forensic analysts found remnants of deleted malware executables inside a Windows telemetry file called autologger-diagtracklistener.etl. Even though the attacker had erased the original malicious files, evidence of their execution persisted within diagnostic logs. That same hidden storage pattern appears in the app data directory structure. The path is typically hidden, %, local app data, %, /packages /. Inside this folder, Windows stores application-specific data for system apps and third-party programs installed from the Microsoft Store. One Reddit user discovered their Packages folder was consuming 27 gigabytes of storage without their knowledge. File Explorer does not show this folder by default because Microsoft marks it as hidden and system protected. Digital forensic specialists have documented 3 particularly concerning subfolders. The first is the Clipboard service cache, located in the %, program data %, /Microsoft, /Windows, /clipsvc, which contains encrypted clipboard history stored in a file called tokens.dat. Security researcher XRET2 Pdyun demonstrated in 2023 that even after users clear their clipboard history through Windows settings, fragments of that data remain recoverable in this encrypted database. The second location is %, local app data, %, Microsoft/Windows/Clipboard/, which stores Clipboard history in JSON format when the Clipboard history feature is enabled. This folder retains text, images, and metadata about what was copied, along with timestamps. The third area is the activitiescache.db database, which has been logging Clipboard activity since Windows 10 version 1803. This SQLite database records exactly where Clipboard data was copied from, when it was copied, and stores the actual content as a base64 encoded string. Forensic analyst Felipe Moore from ThinkDFIR tested this in 2022 by deliberately copying sensitive text from a file on his desktop. After clearing his clipboard and closing all applications, he examined the activitiescache.db database and found the original content still present, complete with the source file path and exact timestamp. The data persisted for up to 12 hours before the database automatically expired old entries. But here is the critical detail. That expiration only applies to the activitiescache.db file, not the other Clipboard storage locations or the broader diagnostic telemetry logs. Now, the immediate reaction many people have is that local storage is not a significant threat. If someone has physical access to your computer, you already have bigger problems. But that reasoning misses three major vulnerabilities that security researchers have been warning about since 2019. First, malware does not need administrator privileges to access these folders. The app data directory exists within your user profile with standard user-level permissions. Any Trojan, keylogger, or data exfiltration malware running under your user account can scrape these diagnostic databases and transmit your Clipboard history, browser metadata, and cached screenshots to remote command and control servers. Security experts on Hacker News specifically called out the app data directory in January 2024 as a security nightmare because applications can read each other's data as long as they belong to the same user. Second, Microsoft account synchronization and OneDrive backup can upload these diagnostic cache files to Microsoft's cloud infrastructure. Microsoft updated its privacy policy in 2025 to explicitly state that diagnostic data may be used to train artificial intelligence models for improving Microsoft 365 Copilot and related services. Read that carefully. The Clipboard data, browser fragments, and activity logs stored in these hidden folders could potentially be uploaded to cloud servers and used to train AI systems that analyze user behavior patterns. Third, enterprise environments with Windows licensing allow IT departments to remotely access diagnostic telemetry as part of endpoint security monitoring. That means if you work for a company using Windows Enterprise, your employer's IT team potentially has visibility into data collected through these hidden diagnostic systems. The in-private browser session you opened during lunch to search for a new job, the confidential client email you copied into a document, and the medical test result you downloaded from your patient portal. All of that activity could leave traces in diagnostic logs accessible to your organization's administrators. Privacy regulators have been aware of these issues since 2017. The Dutch Data Protection Authority published an investigation in November 2017, concluding that Windows 10 telemetry collection violated European privacy laws. The authority found that Microsoft's lack of clarity about what data gets collected, combined with numerous vague data collection objectives, meant the company could not secure valid legal consent for the processing. Microsoft made some changes in April 2018, but Dutch investigators issued another report in July 2019, warning that government employees should not use Microsoft Office due to continuing telemetry privacy violations. In August 2019, Ireland's Data Protection Commission, the lead European Union privacy authority for Microsoft, formally opened an investigation into Windows 10 telemetry practices. The investigation came after Dutch authorities discovered that Microsoft was still collecting additional user data remotely despite previous agreements to restrict data collection. Because the General Data Protection Regulation had come into force in 2018, Microsoft now faced potential fines of up to 4% of global revenue, which, based on their 2018 earnings of over $100 billion, could reach $4 billion. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, a nonprofit civil liberties organization, published a scathing editorial in August 2016, accusing Microsoft of blatant disregard of user choice and privacy in Windows 10. The EFF criticized Microsoft for not explaining how it aggregates and anonymizes telemetry data, for refusing to disclose data retention timeframes, and for forcing all non-enterprise users to share at least some diagnostic data with no ability to opt out. The organization also faulted Microsoft for setting telemetry collection to the highest level by default, and for hiding behind vague legal statements when confronted about trust issues. Microsoft responded to these investigations with statements promising cooperation and transparency. The company introduced the Diagnostic Data Viewer and claimed to have made privacy controls more accessible, but independent testing revealed significant problems that persist to this day. The diagnostic data viewer itself requires up to 1 gigabyte of disk space just to display collected telemetry. Think about that for a moment. Windows is collecting such a massive volume of diagnostic data that simply viewing it through Microsoft's official tool requires reserving an entire gigabyte of storage. Security researchers have also documented that the diagnostic data viewer only shows a subset of what Windows actually collects. The forensic evidence found in Autologger ETL files, RBS telemetry databases, and hidden app data cache folders contain significantly more detailed information than what Microsoft surfaces through their viewer. Testing by digital forensics experts in 2022 and 2023 found that even when users disable optional diagnostic data and set their privacy level to required, Windows continues creating cache files in the app data packages directory. Those 27 gigabytes of hidden data that a Reddit user discovered, that accumulated even with telemetry supposedly set to minimum levels. The clipboard history that Philippe Moore recovered from activities cache.db. That persisted despite the user clearing the clipboard history through Windows settings. The security protecting these hidden folders is also weaker than most users realize. While some clipboard cache files use encryption, the encryption keys are stored locally on the same device. Forensic tools can decrypt these databases without needing administrator access. The activities cache.db stores clipboard content as base64 encoded strings, which is encoding, not encryption. Anyone with user-level file access can decode that data instantly. If you want to regain some control over this hidden data collection, there are practical steps you can take without being a Windows expert. First, disable clipboard history entirely. Go to Settings, then System, then Clipboard, and toggle off clipboard history. This prevents Windows from creating those persistent JSON cache files in the clipboard folder. Second, change your diagnostic data level to the minimum your Windows edition allows. Go to Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Diagnostics and Feedback. If you have Windows 11 Pro or Enterprise, use the Group Policy Editor to set telemetry to the security level. Press Windows key plus R, type gpedit.msc, navigate to Computer Configuration, Administrative Templates, Windows Components, Data Collection, and Preview Builds, and set Allow Diagnostic Data to the lowest available option. For Windows 11 home users, you are limited to required diagnostic data, but you can manually delete collected telemetry by clicking Delete Diagnostic Data in that same Diagnostics and Feedback menu. Third, review what applications have access to diagnostic data and activity history. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Activity History, and disable Store My Activity History on this device. This stops Windows from logging detailed activity to the activities cache.db database. Fourth, for advanced users comfortable with Registry Editor, you can further restrict telemetry collection. Press Windows key plus R, type regedit, navigate to HKEY_local_machine, /software, /policies, /Microsoft, /Windows, /data collection, create a new stored value called allow telemetry, and set it to 0. Restart your computer afterward. Be aware that this may prevent some Windows Update functions from working properly, so only use this method if you understand the trade-offs. Finally, periodically check your App Data Packages folder size. Open File Explorer, enable viewing hidden files, navigate to %, local app data, %, /packages, and review what is consuming storage. Some subfolders can safely be removed to reclaim space and eliminate old cache data. Your operating system does not just work for you anymore. It works for the company that built it, collecting diagnostic data and creating permanent records in hidden folders most users will never discover. That is not a conspiracy. That is documented reality, confirmed by independent security researchers, privacy regulators, and forensic evidence from real-world investigations. You have two choices. First, open Windows settings, go to Privacy and Security, and disable at least one data collection feature today. Or, second, share this video with someone who uses Windows and deserves to know what is being stored on their computer. Leave a comment telling me which option you chose. Next time, I am investigating how smartphone manufacturers do something similar with diagnostic logs that survive factory resets. If that concerns you, subscribe because that investigation drops in 2 weeks. This is your computer. You paid for it. You should control what data gets stored and what gets deleted. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you never miss our latest tech breakdowns.